The sky over Velmara was not blue like Earth. It was a soft purple, filled with two suns and floating crystal clouds. The grand city of Elvaron stood tall with shining towers and glowing pathways. In the highest tower, the most powerful alien, noble Baron Korlath, was preparing to meet the humans for a special peace ceremony. The hall was quiet. Alien guards in silver armor stood still. At the center of the room stood Tom Redden, a human diplomat. He wasn't famous or rich. He didn't speak much, but he had something no other human leader had: patience and kindness. He believed peace could be made, not forced. Tom looked around the alien hall. The lights were soft. The walls had carvings of ancient battles and peace treaties. He felt nervous. What kind of gift would a powerful alien noble give to a human? Baron Korlath entered. He was tall, strong, and had skin like dark stone. Behind him walked a young alien woman, Lura. She had rich teal-blue skin, long black hair, and soft, natural beauty. She wore a long silver robe that floated behind her. But something was different about her. She didn't look at anyone. She didn't speak. Her eyes were calm, but distant. Baron Korlath raised his voice for all to hear. "Today, to show my trust in peace between our worlds," he said, "I give you my daughter, Lura." Gasps filled the room. Tom was confused. "Your daughter?" The Baron nodded. "She does not speak. She never has. But she is my most valuable treasure. I trust you, Tom Redden of Earth. You will keep her safe." Tom didn't know what to say. He looked at Lura. She didn't move. She didn't blink. Her face was calm, like a still lake. "Why me?" Tom asked. The Baron's eyes softened for a moment. "Because you don't use power to win. You listen. She needs someone who listens." There was silence. Everyone waited. Tom slowly walked toward Lura. "I accept," he said quietly. "I will not treat her as a gift. I will treat her with care." The Baron nodded. "That is all I ask." Lura walked beside Tom without a word. She didn't look back at her father. She didn't look at anyone. She followed him like a shadow. As they boarded the human ship, the bravest star, the crew stared. A few whispered, "She's the Baron's daughter? She doesn't speak? Why did he give her away?" Tom said nothing. He helped her find a quiet room with soft lights, warm blankets, and food she could eat. She didn't touch anything at first. She simply sat by the window, watching the stars. Over the next few days, Lura remained silent. She didn't answer questions. She didn't cry. She didn't smile. But she watched. She watched how Tom treated his crew, how he helped the engineers, laughed with the cook, and talked kindly to the youngest crew member, a boy named Ben. One day, Ben dropped a tray of food. He looked scared, thinking he'd be punished. But Tom smiled and helped him clean it. "Everyone makes mistakes," Tom said. From her seat in the corner, Lura watched this moment very closely. That night, Tom walked past her room. He noticed a drawing on the floor. It was made with color, pens and thin paper from the art supplies he had placed in her room. The drawing showed a small starship floating beside a larger, shadowy figure. The stars around it looked like eyes. He picked it up gently and smiled. "Did you draw this?" he asked. She didn't answer, but her eyes moved to his. Just for a second, then looked away. The next day she drew more pictures. Strange symbols, animals from her world, stars and hands reaching out. Tom brought them to Dr. Min, the ship's science officer and language expert. "These symbols repeat, Doctor," Min said. "They're not just art. This is a kind of message." Tom nodded. "I think it's her way of speaking." Dr. Min looked at the drawings again. "She understands everything. but maybe she was never allowed to talk, or maybe she's afraid. Tom sat in the command chair later that evening and thought about the Baron's words. She needs someone who listens. The next morning, he brought her a small chalkboard. "If you ever want to say something, you can write here," he said gently. "No rush, no pressure." She didn't touch it that day, or the next. But then, after 3 days, Tom woke up to find a word written on the board outside her door. It said, "Thank you." He didn't smile wide. He didn't clap. He just whispered, "You're welcome." Over the next few days, Laura began writing 1 word a day, sometimes 2, then short drawings. The crew began to see her not as a quiet statue, but as someone with thoughts, feelings, and maybe even secrets. One night, an accident happened in the engine room. A pipe burst. A crewman was badly burned. The medical team rushed in. But before anyone could stop her, Laura ran in too. She placed her hands on the crewman's chest and closed her eyes. A soft glow spread from her hands. The burns slowly began to cool. The pain left his face. Everyone stared in silence. How did she do that?" the medic whispered. Tom looked at Laura. "You know healing?" She looked at him. Her lips moved silently. No sound came out. But then she raised her chalkboard and wrote, "After the healing incident, everyone on the bravest star started looking at Laura in a new way. She was not just the quiet alien girl anymore. She had saved someone's life with a skill no one on the ship had ever seen." The crew whispered about it during meals, in the hallways, even in the engine rooms. "Did you see how her hands glowed? She's not just a noble's daughter. She's something more." How did she know what to do? But Tom Redden didn't join the gossip. He stayed calm, just like always. He walked up to her gently the next day and sat across from her in the common room. "You helped us," he said with a soft voice. "You helped Reed when he was hurt. Thank you." Laura looked at him but said nothing. Her hands rested on the chalkboard. After a few seconds, she slowly wrote, "He would have died." Tom nodded. "Yes. And you stopped that." There was a pause. Then she wrote something new. "I broke a rule." Tom leaned forward. "Whose rule?" She didn't answer. She looked away, her eyes clouded with worry. Later that evening, Tom met with Dr. Min in the science lab. "She said she broke a rule," Tom said. "What could that mean?" Dr. Min looked serious. "If her people have special healing powers, maybe she's not allowed to use them outside her world." Tom frowned. "But she still did it. She saved someone. That means she trusted us. At least a little." Dr. Min nodded. "Yes. And it also means someone may come looking for her now." Tom didn't like the sound of that. The next day, Tom brought her a new notebook and colored pens. He said nothing, just left them outside her room. A few hours later, he found the notebook on his desk. Inside was a drawing that looked like a map. A strange symbol circled in red with lines pointing outward. He took it straight to Dr. Min. "This isn't just a drawing," Min said. "It's a warning." "What kind of warning?" Tom asked. Dr. Min traced the lines with her finger. "This is the Velmaran symbol for danger, and this spot—" She paused. "It matches a star sector, not far from here, but there's nothing there on human maps." Tom looked closer. "Maybe nothing we know of." He made a decision. "We'll adjust course." Quietly. The crew didn't question his order. They trusted him. 2 days later, the bravest star slowed as it approached the unknown region from Laura's map. At first, the space looked empty, but then scanners picked up a large object hiding behind a gas cloud. It was a ship, but not just any ship. It was alien, Velmaran, and fully armed. On the main screen, a message appeared in bold alien symbols. Dr. Min translated it out loud. Turn. Over the girl. Or face destruction. Tom stood tall. No response, he said. Open a private channel to the bridge only. He walked to Laura's room. She was sitting near the window drawing again. Did you know they would come? He asked gently. She nodded. Why do they want you? He asked. She looked at him, her eyes filled with something new. Fear. Then she wrote, I carry a voice. Tom blinked. A voice? She wrote more. Old gift, lost in time, makes people understand, hear each other. Dr. Min rushed in with a data pad. Tom, I checked her DNA after the healing event. She has a rare code, something not seen in any species before. It matches ancient Velmaran stories of people who had the power of connection. Tom turned to Laura. Is that why you were silent? She nodded slowly. Someone made you stay quiet? He asked. Laura hesitated, then wrote, My voice can move hearts, make peace or start war. Tom was quiet. Then he said, And your father gave you to me to protect you? She wrote. Yes, better hidden with kindness than caged with fear. A sharp alarm broke the moment. The alien ship was moving closer. Tom stood. I need to protect you now. He returned. To the bridge. The alien ship was preparing to fire. Open full shields, he ordered. Send a signal. No weapons drawn. We won't give her up. The enemy ship paused. Then a face appeared on the screen. Lord Varric, a Velmaran war leader. His eyes were cold. You have something that belongs to Velmara, he said. Tom stayed, calm. She is not a thing. She is a person. She chose to stay with us. We won't force her to return. She holds power she doesn't understand, Varric growled. Return her, or be destroyed. Before Tom could answer, Laura walked onto the bridge. The crew stepped back, surprised. She walked to the screen, stood tall, and slowly spoke for the first time. Her voice was soft, musical, and strange. It didn't just echo in the room, it echoed in their minds. No more silence, she said. I am not your tool. I choose peace. Everyone stood frozen, even Varric. Her voice shimmered, as if touching, something deep inside each listener. One by one, the crew felt calm. Even Varric looked shaken. He stared at her, then cut the signal without another word. The enemy ship turned and left. Silence filled the bridge. Tom finally spoke. You talked. Laura looked at him. Because you listened. After Laura spoke on the bridge, everything changed on the bravest star. The crew, who once whispered behind her back, now looked at her with new respect. She was no longer just the quiet daughter of Baron Korloth. She was someone with power. Real power. Not the kind that came from weapons or machines, but from something deeper. Tom Redden stood beside her as the alien ship disappeared into the stars. His mind was racing. How had her voice made even a warlord like Lord Varric stop? Laura looked at Tom and whispered, It only works when the heart is open. Tom nodded slowly. He didn't understand the science behind it, but he believed her. The crew gathered in the main hall later that evening. Everyone wanted answers. Dr. Min brought out her data pad and stood in front of them. I've been studying Laura's voice patterns, she said. They're not normal sound waves. Her voice touches parts of the brain linked to emotion, trust, and calm. It's almost like music that speaks to the soul. Someone from the back asked, Is it dangerous? Dr. Min smiled softly. Only if used to control others. But she didn't do that. She used it to protect us. Tom looked at the crew. She's not here to hurt anyone. She didn't ask for this power. She hid it to stay safe. Laura stepped forward. her teal-blue skin glowing faintly in the soft ship light. She spoke clearly, though her voice was quiet. I was told to stay silent. I believed I would bring trouble. But Tom showed me that kindness can be louder than fear. There was a long pause. Then slowly, one by one, the crew clapped. It wasn't loud, but it was real. Laura's eyes softened. For the first time, she smiled. The next morning, Tom walked into the command room. A message had arrived from Baron Korlath. It was a private transmission. He opened it. The Baron's face appeared, tired but calm. "I have heard what happened," Korlath said. "Thank you for protecting her." Tom leaned forward. "Why didn't you tell us she had this power?" The Baron sighed. "Because I could not protect her from what others would want to do with it. There are those who would turn her voice into a weapon. I wanted her to find someone who would treat her like a person, not a tool." Tom nodded. "She's doing more than that. She's helping people connect. She's giving hope." The Baron gave a slow nod. "Then my choice was right." Before ending the message, he added, "But be warned. Varric will not stop. He may have left now, but he will return. And next time, he won't come alone." That warning became true only 2 days later. The ship's alarm went off in the middle of the night. Red lights flashed across the hallways. Tom rushed to the bridge. 3 unknown ships were closing in fast. "They're not broadcasting any." "ID," said the pilot. "Shields up," Tom ordered. "No weapons unless they fire first." Laura walked in silently and stood beside him. Her eyes narrowed as she stared at the screen. Dr. Min gasped. "These ships, they're stealth class. Velmaran were hunters." Tom clenched his fists. "They've come for her." Suddenly, a sharp sound rang across the ship, a signal jam. All communications were cut off. The enemy ships had locked on. "Prepare for evasive moves," the pilot shouted. The bravest star dodged and turned, engines glowing bright. But the hunter ships were fast. Too fast. One of them fired. The ship shook violently. Sparks flew. A side wing was damaged. The lights flickered. Tom turned to Laura. "Can you do it again, like before?" She shook her head. "They've blocked. Emotional waves. My voice won't reach them like before." "Then we need another plan," Tom said. Dr. Min looked at Laura and suddenly said, "What if we send out your symbols? The drawings you made. We can use visual language." Tom nodded. "Broadcast them like signals." They rushed to the lab. Laura handed over her old drawings, symbols of peace, unity, trust. Dr. Min uploaded them and sent them out in a wide frequency. Blast! At first, nothing happened. Then one of the enemy ships slowed down, just a little. The second ship hesitated, but the third kept coming. "It's not enough," Tom said. "We need something stronger." Laura stepped forward. She placed her hand on the sound panel. Her voice began to hum, not words, but a tone. The ship's systems vibrated with it. Suddenly, the enemy ships began to drift. Their systems glitched. Their lights flickered. The noise was not painful, but it was overwhelming. Like a wave of emotion flooding their computers. "All 3 ships are pulling back," the pilot shouted. Laura's voice slowed. The sound faded, and the ships were gone. When the crew gathered later, Tom stood in front of them. "She saved us. Again," he said. "Not with weapons, with who she is." Laura stood beside him. She didn't need to speak now. Her eyes said everything, but she did say one thing. "Thank you for listening to silence." After the second attack, the crew of the bravest star realized the truth. Laura was not just a guest. She was now the center of something much bigger. She was the reason warships followed them. She was the reason peace might be possible. Or broken. But Laura did not act like someone special. She still sat quietly in the corner of the common room. She still drew pictures with her color pens. She still smiled only when someone helped another without being asked. Tom Redden watched her closely. He noticed that her voice, her drawings, and even her silence seemed to carry meaning. She had a gift, yes, but more than that, she had wisdom. Why do you still speak so little? Tom asked her one afternoon as they sat near the ship's observation window. She turned to him. Her teal-blue skin glowed in the light of a nearby star. Then she answered softly, "Words are like fire, warm or burning." Tom nodded slowly. "You think before you speak. That's rare." Lura gave a small smile. "I was silent for so long. Now I choose each word." The ship needed repairs after the last attack. Tom gave the order to land on a quiet moon base called Aura 9, where the Human Alliance had a small station. The people there had never seen a Velmaran woman before. When Lura stepped off the ship, all eyes turned to her. She didn't speak, but she bowed gently. At the station, a group of scientists met with Tom and Dr. Min. One of them, an older man named Dr. Selvin, looked at Lura with curiosity. "I've studied ancient stories from Velmara," he said. "Legends speak of something called the Unity Voice, a voice that speaks to all species, even plants, even stars." Tom replied carefully, "Lura doesn't like being seen as a tool. She's a person first." Dr. Selvin nodded. "Of course, but she may hold something very old, something that connects life." Later, Lura sat with Ben, the youngest crew member. He was trying to fix a small toy robot. It wasn't working. He hit it with frustration. She gently touched his hand and whispered, "Try again, with kindness." Ben blinked. He had never heard her voice directly before. He smiled and fixed the toy with slow hands. It worked. "She's magic," he whispered. Tom heard this and smiled. Not magic, just patient. But peace did not last long. While resting at Aura 9, Tom received a secret message from Baron Korlath again. This time, the message was short, but heavy. "Varric has formed an alliance with other warlords. He plans to capture her. I cannot stop him. Take her to Earth. She will be safe there." Tom knew what this meant. Velmaran politics were turning dangerous. Other leaders feared Lura's voice. They didn't understand it, so they wanted to control it, or silence it forever. He went to her room and knocked softly. "Lura, we must leave soon," he said. "Earth may be our best hope now." She looked at him, then picked up a small drawing from her table. It showed a large tree standing strong during a storm. Underneath, she had written 2 words, "I'm ready." The crew returned to the bravest, Star. They took off quickly, heading toward Earth, but during the flight, strange signals appeared again. 3 ships followed them, heavier, faster, and with weapons locked. "They're not responding," the pilot said. Tom knew this was worse than before. "Varric won't talk this time," he said. "He'll just attack." Lura stood up slowly. Her eyes didn't show fear, but something deeper, sadness. She looked at Tom. "I must speak, not to stop them, but to awaken them." Tom didn't understand. She continued, "If I go out alone, my voice may reach their hearts." "No," Tom said quickly. "It's too dangerous. They won't listen." Lura placed a gentle hand on his arm. "They might not. But if I stay silent now, others will suffer later." He looked into her eyes. There was strength in them, and choice. Tom sighed. "We'll protect you, whatever happens." They formed a plan. Lura would go on to the outer deck of the ship, where she could be seen from the enemy ships. A special speaker would boost her voice across space. Dr. Min adjusted it so it wouldn't just send sound, but feeling, memory, and thought all carried in her tone. The deck opened. Space was silent. Cold stars surrounded them. Laura stepped forward and closed her eyes. She began to speak, not loudly, but with deep truth. I was told to hide. Told my voice was danger. But my voice is not a weapon. It is a bridge. Her voice spread through space like a wave of light. The enemy ships slowed. I do not speak to fight. I speak to remember who we are. I speak for peace. A strange thing happened. Inside the enemy ships, crew members froze. Some lowered weapons, others removed their headsets, some even wept. Her voice had reached them. Then, one of the enemy ships turned away. Then another. Only one ship remained. It fired. The missile came fast, but at the last second, a shield from the bravest star absorbed the hit. The ship shook, but held strong. Tom gave the order. Return fire, but aim to disable, not destroy. The final enemy ship was disabled in one shot. No one died. Laura stepped back inside, her face pale but calm. Tom helped her sit. You did it, she looked up and whispered, only because you listened first. After the battle near Aura 9, the space around the bravest star became quiet. Too quiet. The enemy ships had left or been disabled. No one chased them for now. But Tom Redden knew it was only a matter of time before others came. Laura had become more than a symbol. She had become a message. And powerful people didn't like messages they could not control. Inside the ship, Laura rested in her room. She looked tired. Her voice had reached across ships and hearts, but it had also taken much of her strength. She sat near her window, drawing again, this time a circle of stars, joined together with a single line. When Tom visited, she handed him the picture. What does it mean? He asked gently. Laura pointed to the stars. Different, she said softly. Then to the line. But connected. Tom smiled. Like us? She nodded. Dr. Min called a meeting the next morning. I've studied the patterns of her voice again, she said. And I believe she's not just using sound. There's something in her biology, something ancient. Her cells carry energy signals that react to emotion and thought. It's like a lost key to something bigger. Tom looked confused. You mean her voice unlocks things? Yes, Dr. Min said. Not just minds. Maybe even peace. The room fell silent. Then Ben, the youngest crew member, said quietly, Why would anyone want to stop that? Tom answered slowly. Because not everyone wants peace. Some want power more. Later that day, a message came from the Human Alliance Command. The council had heard about Laura's voice. Some were amazed. Others were afraid. The message said, Return to Earth at once. The girl must be studied for safety. Her voice may affect human minds. This is a direct order. Tom frowned as he read it. They want to lock her away, he said. Dr. Min was shocked. But she hasn't hurt anyone. She's saved us. Tom walked to Laura's room. She was sitting with Ben, helping him draw a starship. When she saw Tom's face, she knew something was wrong. They want to study you, he said softly, like an object. Laura looked down. Then she whispered, It begins again. Tom sat beside her. Not if I can help it. She looked at him. You believe in me. That is rare. He nodded. And I won't stop now. That night, Tom spoke to the crew. He explained the situation, the message from the Alliance, and what might happen next. We can follow orders, he said, and hand her over, or we can find another way. One that respects who she is. One by one, the crew stood up. They didn't speak loudly. They didn't cheer. But their faces showed the answer. They were with Tom, and they were with Laura. The next morning, Tom changed the course of the bravest star. Instead of heading straight to Earth, he took a hidden route toward a place called New Dawn Station, a neutral spaceport where humans, aliens, and other species worked together for peace. It wasn't under Alliance control. It was safer for now. But the journey was long. On the way, strange things began to happen. Lura's voice had changed something inside the ship. The walls sometimes hummed softly with energy. The lights blinked in patterns. The garden room, where small earth plants were grown, suddenly began to bloom faster than before. Dr. Min was shocked. "Her voice has left traces," she said. "It's like the ship remembers her voice." Even more, the crew became calmer. Fights stopped. Stress faded. People who once avoided each other now worked together smoothly. Tom noticed it too. "Is this her doing?" he asked Lura one evening. She smiled gently. "Not me. Just what peace feels like." Finally, they reached New Dawn Station. The place was beautiful, filled with clear domes, bright gardens, and people from many worlds walking side by side. No weapons were allowed, no armies ruled. It was a place for healing and talks. Tom and Lura stepped off the ship. Many turned to look at them, especially at Lura. She stood tall, quiet, her presence calm and graceful. Inside the council hall, Tom spoke with the station leaders. "This is Lura," he said. "She is not a weapon, not an experiment. She is a voice the galaxy has forgotten." Lura stepped forward. Her voice was soft but clear. "I ask only this. Let us listen before we fear." The room fell still. Then one elder, an alien named Jarn, stood. I felt her voice. It reached old wounds in me. She must be protected. Others nodded, but just as peace returned, danger followed. A shadow message arrived from Lord Varek. It said, "You can hide her for now, but I am not alone. I will bring silence to her voice, forever." Tom showed the message to Lura. She looked at it, then calmly picked up a pen and wrote, "Then we teach the galaxy to speak louder than fear." New Dawn Station became a place of calm for Lura and the crew of the Bravest Star. For the first time in many days, there were no alarms, no warships, and no threats. The air smelled of fresh plants, and soft lights glowed from the ceiling. It was a place made for peace. But peace never stays quiet for long. Inside the council chamber, Tom Redden stood with leaders from many planets. He explained everything, from the moment the Baron gave Lura to him to the moment she spoke and stopped the enemy ships. "We didn't ask her to do it," he said. "She chose it. She spoke to protect others, not to harm." Lura stood beside him. She didn't speak right away. She didn't have to. Her calm face, her soft eyes, and her graceful silence said enough. But then she looked around and spoke with a voice that carried deep feeling. "I don't want to be a ruler. I don't want power. I only want people to understand each other." The room remained silent for a moment. Then the head of the council, an old woman named Nara, said, "We believe you, and we will help protect you." The next day, something surprising happened. A group of alien leaders from the Velmaron Outer Circle arrived at the station. These leaders were usually loyal to Lord Varek, but now they came without weapons and without guards. They asked to meet Lura in private. Tom was unsure. It could be a trap, but Lura said softly, "If I don't speak to them, they'll never change." She agreed to meet them in the garden hall, a quiet place filled with tall, glowing trees and soft wind sounds. The alien leaders sat around her in a circle. They looked serious, but not angry. One of them, named Senthar, finally spoke. "We heard about your voice. We didn't believe it at first, but now we wonder, is it real?" Lura nodded. "Yes, but it's not magic. It's not mind control. It's just connection." Senthar asked, "And what do you want from us?" Lura looked at them kindly. "Nothing, only that you listen, to each other, to your people, to your own hearts." She then sang a short line, just one tone. The sound was gentle but deep. It moved through the trees like a soft breeze. The leaders sat still. Some closed their eyes, some lowered their heads. After a few minutes, one leader stood and said, "This changes things." And then they left, quietly, without threats, but not everyone welcomed peace. While Laura met leaders in the garden, trouble was rising in deep space. Lord Varric was not sitting still. He had joined with others who feared what Laura could do. Together, they built a plan. They would not attack New Dawn Station directly. It was protected by many treaties. Instead, they would spread lies. News messages began appearing across the galaxy. "Alien girl controls human minds." Laura's voice used as a weapon. "She is dangerous." Tom read the messages with a tight jaw. "They're trying to turn people against her," Dr. Min agreed. "If people fear her, they'll demand her silence." Ben, the youngest crew member, asked, "Why do people fear something good?" Tom answered, "Because change feels scary, even when it's right." That evening, Laura asked to speak on the station's public channel. She stood in front of a small camera. No makeup, no lights, just herself. "I was born without a voice, not because I couldn't speak, but because I was told not to," she said. "Now I speak for those who are not heard." She didn't defend herself. She didn't fight the lies. She simply spoke the truth. Her message spread fast, not just to New Dawn, but to many planets. On some worlds, people listened with open hearts. On others, fear still won. But something had begun. The next day, a ship arrived from Earth. It carried a representative from the Human Alliance named Marin Cole. He was tall, polite, but very serious. He met with Tom and Laura in a quiet room. "We've received many messages," he said. "Some good, some bad. The Council wants to speak with Laura in person, on Earth." Tom asked, "To listen or to study her?" Marin didn't answer directly. "We want to understand." Laura looked at him and asked softly, "Will I be safe?" Marin paused. "I will do everything I can." She turned to Tom. "Maybe it's time. If I hide, fear will grow, but if I speak, truth will spread." Tom wanted to say no. He wanted to keep her safe on the ship, far from politics. But he also knew Laura wasn't a child. She was brave. And she was ready. Before they left, Baron Korlath sent one last message. "My daughter," he said, "you were never truly silent. Your heart always spoke louder than words. I am proud of what you've become." Laura smiled. "Tell him," she said to Tom, "I forgive him." And so they left New Dawn Station. The journey to Earth began. But far in the darkness, Lord Varric prepared his final plan. He would not let her voice reach Earth. The journey to Earth began with hope. The bravest star moved through space quietly, carrying Laura, Tom, and the crew. The stars ahead looked peaceful, but Tom knew danger was not far behind. Laura sat by the window, watching the stars. She held a small notebook where she had written new symbols. Symbols of peace, courage, and truth. Tom came and sat beside her. "You don't have to do this," he said gently. "We can turn around." Laura looked at him and smiled softly. "If I run, they win. If I speak, the galaxy will hear." Her voice was calm. It carried strength now. As they entered the space near Earth, alarms went off. "Unidentified ships approaching," said the pilot. "3 of them, fast and armed." Tom stood up. "It's Varric." The screen showed the ships closing in. "This time." Lord Varric did not send a message. He didn't threaten. He simply prepared to attack. "He knows if she reaches Earth, it's over for him," Dr. Min said. "People will believe her." Tom looked at Laura. "We'll protect you, no matter what." But Laura shook her head. This time I will protect you. Before anyone could stop her, she walked to the deck controls. Open the speaker link to all ships, she said. Tom hesitated. They won't listen. They must hear, Lura replied. Lura stood at the front of the ship, her image broadcast, across the area. She looked directly into the camera. She didn't shout. She didn't beg. She simply spoke. I was silent for years, afraid, hidden. But now I speak for every voice ignored. I am not your enemy. I am not your weapon. I am only someone who wants peace. She took a deep breath and added, Varek, I know you can hear me. What are you afraid of? My voice? Or the truth? There was no answer. Only silence. Then one of the enemy ships turned slightly. Tom looked at the screen. They're listening. Suddenly, Varek's voice came through. You are clever, girl, but words don't win wars. Lura answered. Then why are you so afraid of them? Varek gave the command. One of his ships fired a missile. It moved fast, straight toward the bravest star. Everyone froze, but before impact, the other two enemy ships moved. They blocked the missile. It exploded between them, but they survived. Gasps filled the bridge. Tom stared at the screen. They protected us? Dr. Min nodded. Her voice reached them. Varek, now alone, cut the signal. His ship turned and disappeared into the stars. The crew of the bravest star stood in silence. Lura had won, not with fire, not with force, but with truth. The ship landed on Earth a few hours later. People from all over came to see the girl with the voice. Some came out of fear. Others came with curiosity, but most came with hope. Lura stood on the steps of the World Council building, facing leaders, scientists, and regular people. Tom stood beside her, along with Dr. Min and Ben. She raised her hand and spoke, not loudly, but clearly. I am not here to lead you. I am here to remind you. Listening is stronger than control. Feeling is stronger than fear. She looked across the crowd. You don't need my voice. You need your own. Speak with kindness. Speak with courage. There was silence. Then one person clapped, then two. Then the whole crowd stood in applause. Tears rolled down many faces. Even the leaders stood and clapped. Tom looked at Lura and whispered, You did it? She smiled gently. We did it. Over the next few months, things changed. Treaties were signed between old enemies. Alien children learned human languages. Human children learned Velmaron symbols. Ships from different planets worked together on missions, and one quiet voice had started it all. Lura became a teacher, not of power, but of peace. She didn't give orders. She asked questions. She helped. People understand. Tom stayed by her side, as a friend and guide. He was never loud, but always present. His kindness had lit the path. Ben grew older and often told others, I knew her before she spoke. One day, Baron Korlath came to Earth. He stood before his daughter. For a long time, he said nothing. Then, finally, with soft eyes, he said, Forgive me. Lura stepped forward and gently placed her hand on his. I already did, she said. The two stood together under Earth's sun, like two worlds no longer apart. In the years that followed, the bravest star became a symbol of peace. The ship that once ran from war became the ship that carried messages of unity. People remembered Lura not as a princess or a weapon, but as a voice that taught them all something simple. Silence can be powerful, but when the time comes, speak. Speak for truth. Speak for others. Speak for peace.